Tom Vasel's top 100 games of all time. Some say that Tom is like a giant among men. Others say he's a little obsessed.
I don't even have a top 10.
Tom Vasel's top 100 games of all time.
Hey, welcome to the next edition of the Top 100 Games of All Time. Today we're doing numbers 71 through 80. Okay, so we're finishing up the top third, basically, of the games, getting into some really good ones. Of course, as I always say, they're all good. Well, we're not here to listen to me blather away. Let's take a look at the games. Here we go.
Number 80, Manila.
Manila is one of those games that I just like, not because it's actually a good game. That sounds bad because I like good games. But I guess what I really like about it is the fact that there's so much bidding and the tension. It's almost like playing, putting your number down in a casino, but here you have boats racing down a river. You know, you're racing these boats down a river and then bidding money to see if one's going to make it two, which one's going to get there first, will some of them crash and not make it, and it's fascinatingly entertaining. The game itself behind it is almost a side step to just seeing if you can get the boat down, jump on someone else's boat, take over to control. Just some really neat ideas, and that's why I like Manila.
Number 79, Shipyard.
Shipyard is one of those games that I like solely because of the mechanics of the game. I mean, I just love it. It's just, there's so much going on. Some people like rondos, but I like, I like all of it. I like all the rondos. I like everything that's involved. You know, you're trying to build your ship, you're trying to sail the ship, you're trying to put cool pieces, and the theme really works because you're putting the pieces down, and as you're doing it, you are seeing the ship come together and take place. It's very deep compared to a lot of games that I like, a deep, heavier Euro, but it's one that I think is pretty neat, and one that you may have missed out on, so check it out.
Number 78, Manhattan.
This isn't the first time that you've seen Manhattan. If you've been watching my daughter's Top 100 list, you'll see that Manhattan was on her list too. Manhattan is all about building skyscrapers. And one of the things I like about Manhattan is the fact that it has the whole building the towers, the visual effect as you put the towers on the board. But another thing I like about Manhattan is putting and knocking out somebody else's tower, taking over the towers, and that back and forth while trying to win the game at the same time is something that I like quite a bit. And so I'm going to be playing Manhattan for a long time. It's one of those games I can bring out and play with anybody, anywhere, and building the towers. It's just a neat thing. In fact, I'll be running the family game night in a few weeks, and Manhattan will be one of the games that I'm bringing to it. So I like it.
Number 77, Carcassonne.
Here's a game that's on everybody's list, mine, Melody, and yours, and that's Carcassonne. Carcassonne is an absolute fantastic game. The simplicity of it is what appeals to most people. Most people like the fact that you can put a tile down and you connect and make farms and roads and castles. The simplicity does not appeal to me anymore. I'm sure that's a great feature of the game, but what I really like about the game is the fact that I have all these expansions. Literally, there's 429,374,264. Okay, I'm making that up, but there's a lot of expansions, and they add so many rules and so much that each game is just this total madcap of pulling a tile, looking up the rule to see what it is, and then doing it. But that sounds complex, and I know it's not up everyone's alley, but it is mine, and that's why I like Carcassonne.
Number 76, Magic Gathering.
Last year, this was number 100, just squeaked in, and it's moving up. You know, you'd think that this game, which came out in 1995, would be going down. The craze certainly seems to be over, although there's quite a few people who are playing it. But my daughter and I are enjoying this more and more as we play. I'm not a big fan of the collectible aspect of it, except I do like the fact that there's thousands and thousands of different cards that you can get. But the idea of building your own deck, the idea of playing red, white, green, black, blue, mixing them, playing red, white, green, and there's always new, cool things that you can do. They're constantly coming out with new ideas. I don't have to become this crazed fanatic of the game to enjoy it just for what it is. A decent, good card game back and forth. It's a collectible card game I like quite a bit, but there's one I do like better, and you'll see it later on.
Number 75, Tribune.
There's a lot of worker placement games that are out there right now, and one of, I like a lot of them, although I think it's maybe becoming a little bit overused, but one of the ones I really enjoy is Tribune. Tribune is a game, I love the theme, ancient Rome, and just trying to control different factions of Rome so that you can then do special abilities with them. And it's all about getting the points at the end, but it's very much in your face, assassinating other people, taking a faction away from them, which brings this up a level, has a little bit of a cutthroat nature to it, but that's at the same time just a good, solid game. The expansion that came out was fantastic, and one that I think should be included in the game, if you possibly can. But it's one I like very much, Tribune.
Number 74, Roasters.
Okay, here I've cheated completely. I've done a tie between different games. In fact, there's 4 different games here. What is that all about? There's Roadsters and Bicycle and Pitch Car and Carabande. Now, Pitch Car and Carabande are functionally the same game. Roadsters and Bicycle are also fairly functionally the same game. There's some minor differences, and they both are compatible with each other. So I'm basically taking 2 games and making them tied because I can't honestly tell you which one I like better. Pitch Car is great because 16, 20, 30 people can play it. You really can't do that with Roadsters, but man, flicking the ball in Roadsters to go around the track rather than flicking a disc, which you are doing in Carabande and Pitch Car, it's neat because that ball can curve. It's just such a unique thing in a game. And so I want to like that one better, but then man, 16, 20 people, huge party Pitch Car. I've made giant 3-dimensional tracks. I don't know which one I like better, so I had to make them tie. So there you go. But one thing, dexterity racing games.
Number 73, Confused.
So now we have a new game on the list, one that's new this year, although the game I think is based on an older design, but it's a really neat game. It's from Stronghold Games, and it's called Confusion. It's an abstract game. In fact, it just won the Games Magazine Abstract Game of the Year, but in essence, it's really not an abstract game, I don't feel, because there's the Cold War theme, which is in it, works well for what you're trying to do. You're moving your own pieces, trying to get to the opponent's side and deliver a briefcase to the opponent's side, but you don't know what your pieces can do. Your opponent knows what they can do, but you don't. And each team has one trader piece on it. And so that, to me, is just a really unique feature of the game, something I like quite a bit. So it's an abstract game, and it's one of the best deduction games I've ever played. A lot of fun, so check out Confusion.
Number 72, Battle Stations.
Battle Stations is a game that I probably say this every year. I'll have to go back and look at the older ones to see. But I probably don't get to play it as often as I'd like to. Because Battle Stations is a role-playing game mixed with a board game. And it's a fairly complex one, putting all that stuff together. But it's neat. It's a game that I like quite a bit because you can do so many things in it. It's one of those games that when you're done with it, you tell the story. You say, remember that time that we shot you out of the ship, heading towards the opponent's ship, and they did the same to us, and then there was a big battle on board, and I shot that tentacle monster. I also like it because the aliens in it are unique. There's something different than is found in most aliens, your typical humans with ridges on their heads, or humans with pointy ears, or, different kinds of humans with 4 arms. No, this is something different. And they have some unique abilities. It's something I enjoy quite a bit, and they've been very faithful at publishing expansions for it. Man, you should see the 3D version of it that they bring to conventions. It's a lot of fun. Battle Stations.
Number 71, Earth Reborn.
Earth Reborn is one of those games that, it's new to the list, but it's one of those games that when you open a box, you are like, whoa, What is this? I like dungeon crawls, you know, where you move guys around and you fight aliens and stuff. I mean, you fight monsters. But sometimes you just want to do something different, and Earth Reborn does that. It's a tactical miniature game. All the miniatures are in the box, and they're great, fantastic miniatures. That, you know, there's different things, but it's sci-fi. And there's weapons they can pick up, and it's just a lot of neat things. You can make a myriad of your own scenarios. The game even comes with its own scenario builder. It's really neat, and I guess my biggest disappointment is I think that it's going to be fairly underrated when it comes to how well it's been selling, and I don't know that we'll ever see expansions, which I would love to see for this game. But be that as it may, it's still a pretty neat game, so check it out. Well, there you have it. 10 more games. 70 more to go. That's still a lot still. It's going to take a while. But you know what? You don't have to, you know, even though it's a week between us doing these, there's always plenty of other things to see. We have reviews coming out every week, not just me, but plenty of other reviewers on board. And we have the whole Dice Tower network, and you can see other videos and podcasts. So I'm really excited. There's lots of cool things that you can check out all the time. But be back here in a week, and if you're bored, you can always check Melody's Top 100, which isn't nearly as good. You can't say anything because you're doing the camera. But no, it is good. Check her list out and check out your list. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.
See you later.
Tom Vasel's top 100 games of all time.
What are you doing?
Blinking.